Alright, here goes the assembly. I had to sort of decipher from the bits and parts. So this is the first time taking this apart. So this is a seal that wasn't there. This bottom bushing down here on this bottom kingpin had a lot of corrosion, and turns out there's a couple of sealing elements that should be in there. One seems to be an O-ring, which seals this top shim. All the bearing part is all metal to metal contact from the axle to the steering knuckle, but there's grease passages that then need to be sealed off. So there's first a thrust, really crazy looking thrust washer, which I think needs to get sealed from the top. So that is going to go there. And then this seal that we made on the lathe a little while ago, that lays there. And then the bearing sits on top of that and sandwiches it all together. I think this is going to have enough resistance to stick up in there when I set it, so that when I put the rest of the axle on it, it shouldn't fall off. Fingers crossed. I know I had to pry it off. I had to use a bearing puller to remove it. Let's put it that way. So this will all hang there while I put the axle in. The axle will hang on the top kingpin, fall against the bottom kingpin. The rest of these pieces will lay up against it, and then we'll bolt, clamp the other half. That's sort of how this goes together. So let's get to Andy. It's going to get eventually coated with grease. Most of it probably, maybe, but let's not leave it to chance. Stick that whole sandwich up there and see if it stays. Yeah, that's going to get cut. There we go. Not super bad. And of course, I forgot a piece, because that's how we do this. Maximize the number of times you can. I don't think this does much. I don't think this does anything. I think it's like it sheds water a little bit, maybe. So maybe it does something, but ooh, it makes a pretty interface. Okay. There's that. I feel good about that. And that will get sealed up against the parts that are coming on next. So, good. All right. All right, all right. So, next up, I'm going to hang that axle. See what we're doing for time. Yeah, got a little time. Get that axle on a cherry picker. And be back over here in a couple of minutes.
two sets fine. Come on. Hey, I think that's it. And then I need to hook. It'll work. Look at that. How are we looking? Crooked. Yes. A bit over the hang, but that's okay. Now, boingo! Yeah. That's it. We're resting where that needs to be. I have to pull it up again because that's still out. I'm gonna go for this thing. You know that?
So that's the other half of that block. These two pieces, it's a little swivel, and that grabs the bottom of the spherical bearing. So, let me reach in front of the camera here, grab the anti-seize. There we go. And do this up. Painting of anti-seize. Again, this piece should get packed with grease, but let's just soak it for good measure. And all this down here so that it doesn't lock itself in. All right. Let's see if we can get that in there. Go. Here.
Almost. How the hell? We don't have an half an inch. We have only that much. Just kidding.
belongs. Gotta teach her. The seal that we made, and this spherical bearing, which is funny. It's got two little openings that go fore and aft. And it's got this little pocket here that's for removing it, so that needs to be up. So the seal goes down, bearing goes down, seal is on the bearing. And eventually that will be metal on the top of the axle flange. This will be metal on metal to, or this will be, this won't be. Is that right? Starting to wonder. Well, you know what they say. One way to find out. Still got any rusty stuff on it. ACs. Again, this should get greased good, so. But in the event that the greasing function is somehow lacking something, then at least it has been greased before. Yeah. There. I'm gonna get some air, blow that out. About turn the compressor on. I don't have much air, but I got a little bit. And take the seal, drop it down. Bye. And then we'll take this guy. Of course, this has to be perfectly straight. Yeah. Everybody knows that's my specialty. The alternative, beat the heck out of it. Little flashlight. Where's my little flashlight? Probably spot it just a moment after you realize where you left it. Man, that looks perfect. Perfect. What's wrong? It looks pretty darn good. Whole lot of improvising with this car. Can't use the wood. It just craps everything up. Come on, man. That's it. The last step is this top. And it doesn't say anything about using sealant, but there is no other mechanism to keep water from coming in this direction. So we're gonna do a little bead of blue RTV, or we're going to use aviation formigasket. Put it away somewhere there. Aviation formigasket. I love this stuff. Love this stuff. Shims down. Do. Well, I'll be cutting a bunch of stuff out of this, but if it ever surfaces on the internet somewhere on YouTube, apologize for all the dead space.
Yep.
That's my not rubber fender rail. Let's see. Bolts, anti-seize. What do we do with the anti-seize? We had it over. Yeah, while I'm at it, let's just get a quick view. Quick view of the front of the wheel end. So this is all buttoned up. Still a few things to torque, but the brake shoes anti-seized to death. Those pins were locked. So I think what I've been doing wrong, and I guess I knew it at the time, but when you go into deep water with this thing, which is fine, does that very well. When you get out, probably good to get on the road, heat up the brakes, get everything warm, evaporate some water out of there, because these pins, I had to pull out, I had to put them in a 20-ton press to knock those out. It didn't take 20 tons, but it took a lot of that, the capacity of that 20-ton press to get those pins out. And then they were all rusty, and I couldn't even move the brake shoes with a pry bar. So anyway, all free, ready to go now. I'm gonna start buttoning this thing up and figure out what I gotta do to the other side.